Atypical romance offers solid trilogy conclusion. This is a very atypical romance that some could potentially see as problematic, and others could possibly very easily feel all too seen in. And that all centers on our FMC here. In the characterization of her rigidity of habit and how completely clueless she is socially, Evans here presents one version of a condition not named in the description, so it would be a spoiler to reveal here. To this writer, living in the real world with the same condition, the characterization here is perhaps a touch stereotypical, and yet while my own life and romances therein have been wildly different than portrayed here, I'm also aware enough of others living with this to know that there are indeed very likely some, perhaps many, who will feel quite seen in this characterization and indeed perhaps find hope that they too can find a love as portrayed herein. Other irritations, and truly, these are simply irritations that your mileage will absolutely vary on, or that the author for some reason or another seems to have written Disney, and then hit replace all on the manuscript with a fictional name. That is how blatant the descriptions of the company are to real life, yet with the fictional name for the company. There are a few different reasons I can think of even off the top of my head that an author may choose to do this, but it was an irritant every time I encountered it and it did take away from the story a touch, which is unfortunate, given how critical it is at one point. The other irritant is far more minor in its presentation, and yet it is also one I know many readers will want to be aware of, as it can be a deal breaker for some. Without actually diving into spoiler territory, let's just say there is a certain surprise in the epilogue that at least was hinted at briefly in the earlier text that it could potentially be a possibility in this exact situation, so at least it wasn't a situation of the book before that moment either never mentioning this at all or even outright saying this wasn't wanted at all. To be clear though, this really was a solid romance of a very atypical form, between someone who thought he was going to be a priest and thus never have a romantic relationship and someone for whom relationships had always been rather difficult. Indeed, it is these exact two characterizations coming together that actually make this story as strong as it is, as it offers hope to so very many who perhaps are in similar boats of being on the verge of hopelessness for their own potential romances. Another thing that was done quite well here is the integration of many elements of the Catholic faith, perhaps obvious with a potential priest as the MMC and with the author being so openly Catholic herself. Still, this is one element where at least some readers will want to be aware of up front and can make your own decision to thus read this book or not based on your own thoughts on the Catholic Church. Once again, I'm simply asking you, now that you've read this far into my own review, to simply leave this book be if you're going to give it 1 star just because it features Catholicism and shows it so favorably or, more actually, normally. The non-romance drama with the Brighthead crafters is done very well once again, and this is where the trilogy conclusion comes to bear with both humor and heart, as is typical of Evans. Ultimately this really is a quite strong, if also very atypical, romance and a solid conclusion to this trilogy. So pick all 3 books up, read them, and leave a review for each wherever you find this review. Let us all know what you think. Even if you think I'm a complete moron in my thoughts about these books, feel free to tag me anywhere and let me know. I'm just excited that you're actually reading them, no matter what you think of them. Slightly smiling face. Very much recommended.